All right, guys, so let's do a midday market recap on today, day 26 of the Small Account Challenge. Formerly known as the Small Account Challenge, now we'll just call this the 100K Challenge because that's the goal. So, as you guys know, yesterday was my first day trading in Speed Trader, and I moved my money out of Sure Trader, put it in Speed Trader. And, opening a new account has been a little bit of a pain in the middle of the day yesterday. I got logged out and I couldn't log back in until I had all these agreements signed. And something kind of weird happened where the trade I took in the morning got cleared off my balance. And the trade I took in the afternoon basically was starting from a zero balance. And then this morning, when I logged in, my equity was only showing the profit from the trade in the morning, not from the trade in the afternoon. So I called them and they said they're going to fix it. The trade was recorded, but it just wasn't on my account because of the switch. So I started this morning with equity of $42,230, which is about $2,800 or $2,600 lower than it's supposed to be. So tomorrow, if I didn't trade at all, tomorrow my account would most likely be opening around 44,800, which is reflects the gains from yesterday. And now today, I've made $10,585.03, which means tomorrow my account will be actually closer to $55,000. So I'm 55% of the way there to the 100K mark. And this is the account that I started on January 1st with $583.15. So the strategy now that the account is getting bigger is pedal to the metal and being aggressive. Now, the aggression today was fueled also by frustration. I was feeling very frustrated this morning, and this is something we talked about a little bit on Friday when we talk about some of the psychological challenges that traders, that the traders have and that I've certainly had. This morning I was frustrated. I was frustrated that my account balance was screwed up. I was frustrated that there were, just I was having tech issues. My connection wasn't stable. The dogs were barking. The black dog knocked over a glass this morning, broke a glass everywhere. So I was just kind of got up on the wrong side of the bed. I was feeling agitated. I was really feeling quite annoyed. I put on my lucky sweatshirt. I hope, things would come together with the lucky sweatshirt. But I couldn't help but feel as I was sitting here that my blood pressure was like rising and that I was just feeling agitated. You have to be careful when you're trading in that mindset because you can be overly aggressive and you can get just kind of into this into this state where you're just kind of like swinging at things really hard and you could just miss again and again and again and just drive yourself kind of nuts. I've definitely had that happen before on days where I was frustrated. Fortunately, today I was able to channel that frustration into some good and positive trading. The trades I took today, APOP, DFFN, both of them, on the gap scanner with a headline, and then AEHR and XGTI on the high day momentum scanner. So one loser and three winners on those out of those four stocks. Commissions are just about $400, mostly generated by my ECN fees. All right, so we'll go over the trades from today. By far, the best trade of the day was AEHR, $3,500. And the reason this was a good trade was because we were able to get really clean 5-minute setups. First entry was right here, 268. And then the second trade was right here, entering at 316, selling on this push. I sold a little early in the 40s because we got a 20,000 share seller at 340. Ended up going as high as 369. But, green is good, and I'm walking away with profit on the name. I would be tempted to trade this third pullback simply because it looks so clean. But let's, remember that number one, it's the lunch hour. Number two, trading the third pullback is always riskier. First pullback and second pullback are the safest. So this would be a risky entry, both because it's the third and the time of the day. So, I would watch for the first 5-minute candle to make a new high, and that would probably at this point be over 360. So 360, you'd expect an immediate break at 369. Target would be $4. Now in this one here, I traded 15,000 shares on my first entry, and I traded 10,000 on my second. So a little less size on the second trade. I didn't want to give up profit. And on both of them, I was aggressive with share size. Again, kind of, well, I guess because I was feeling a little agitated, the fear of loss was non-existent. It was just like, you know what, this is already a pretty annoying day, so what the heck? Let's just see what we can do. I mean, it's not going to get, even if I take a loss, it's not going to get that much worse. And again, I'm not saying that that's the best mentality to trade in. Typically, I would suggest beginner traders really walk away when they're feeling emotional like that. But I think when you've been doing this for as long as I have, you can kind of channel that extra aggression to help you have a good day, and you know how to moderate it, and you still are in control. You still know your max loss. You know, you still know your risk tolerances, and by the time I took this trade, I was already up $7,000 on the day. So I had a pretty big cushion. I didn't really think I was going to lose money today after this trade. So that was AEHR, best trade of the day. Now, the two trades out of the gates are both kind of interesting. DFFN and APOP, both of these were on our gap scanner. So let me pull this back here. Let's see. I'm going to put that over there. So we'll look at the gap scanner. Each morning starts the same way, scanning for the stocks that are hitting, that are looking like they're going to gap up and open higher. For those of you watching on Facebook, I'll show you. There's my P&L for the day, 10,000. This actually shows slightly lower than my other one, but $10,571.17. It's kind of interesting. When you log out and log back in, your commissions change. It moves the ECN and NASDAQ fees into commissions, and you usually get like a little bit of a change by a couple dollars. I'm not sure why that is, but anyway, so I took this screenshot before I logged out. I logged out and logged back in to see if I could get my balance to update, but it didn't. All right, so here's DFFN leading the gap scanner, gapping up 46% on news. APOP gapping up 31% on news. Both of these with 150, 160,000 shares of pre-market volume. All right, so these are stocks that were gapping up. They were our leading gappers, and they were worth watching. We knew that they would be in play. You know, the fact that they were on the top of the gap scan, that they had this news, we knew traders would jump on them. And so it's not a surprise then that DFFN and APOP are our two leading relative volume leaders today in the entire market. DFFN is the highest, APOP is the second highest, and then below that we've got AMC and then WCST. AEHR, I'm not sure where that is actually on here, maybe down a little bit further, or I may be just overlooking it, and XGTI, I'm not sure where that is either. But the two trades right out of the gates on the gap and go stocks, you know, basically on both of those, these are stocks, DFFN and APOP, that have been crazy parabolic within the last month. DFFN went from $2.50 up to $15.50. That was one of our first trades of the year, a big win on that on January 10th. And this morning I looked at this and I was like, this looks to me this is perfect, because you know what this looks like? It looks like a pullback. Now, the thing I maybe didn't realize at the time was this was our first pullback, this was our second, and this was actually our third. And I'm usually pretty cautious about trading the third pullback up here. I think I kind of just looked at this as being one pullback, and I was so focused on this being the type of stock that could have home run potential that I didn't fully recognize I was buying the third. So I bought the third, candle to make a new high. The high of that candle was 621. As soon as the bell rang and I saw volume coming in, I got in, squeezed up to a high of 689. And on this one, I was looking for the break of $7. I knew that we needed to hold over this purple line on the daily chart, 658, because that was the 200 moving average. I was looking for $7, thinking above 7, we've got room on the daily. No resistance until $15. Unfortunately, it didn't hold those levels, and what could have been easily a $10,000 or $20,000 winner ended up being only $4,700. Not to say that that's not a good trade, but it's certainly less than what I was looking for. So on that trade, I started with 2,500 share orders, and I added until I was holding, I think it was 17,500 shares. So I was being pretty aggressive on this. I was really thinking this had home run potential, and I wanted to position myself for the big win. And I probably had $10,000 unrealized profit at one point, but I certainly didn't lock up that much. So didn't hold the gains, disappointing on that one. APOP, same kind of thing. It started popping out of the gates. And on this one, because I was trading DFFN right out of the gates, I kind of missed the right entry. And I ended up chasing it with an entry at, I think it was 575 and 615. And then I added as high, which is kind of ridiculous. I added another 2,500 shares as high as 663. So I was really thinking, again, this one potential on the daily to go up maybe to no resistance until 878. And I was just, pedal to the metal, being aggressive on that one. I think I had 10 or maybe 12,000 shares. So, I was up quite a bit on it, but I was only able to lock up $2,900. It didn't hold those levels. And then when I tried to mark it out, not mark it, but get out, the level 2 just kind of dropped. So that's kind of disappointing. I mean, $7,500 of profit on gap and go trades using the 1 minute chart. So a win is a win, but on both of those trades, I was sort of aligning myself for potentially $10,000 to $20,000 winners if it worked. And I had a $22,000 winning day last Thursday. So I knew that this is possible in this market if you position yourself aggressively and you get into the right stock at the right time. Unfortunately, these two didn't give me that win, so that's okay. I'll keep stepping up to the plate. I'll stand tall. I'll take that big position, and I do that enough times, and I will have some really good-sized winners this year. It's also inevitable that I'll take 15,000 shares, lose 30 cents like that, and be down $4,500. That can happen, and that's the risk. And I know that risk coming into it, and I'm prepared for that loss, and I can handle it. If I lose $5,000 in a day, I can handle it, and I'll bounce back. I don't want it to happen, but this is just the way it is when you're being aggressive. And I'm definitely being aggressive with this account, trying to grow it as quickly as I can. There will be a point where I may feel like I can kind of take my foot off the gas a little bit and put on cruise control and just kind of, just cruise, with $1,000 a day or something like that. But for me, I get really, really motivated, like tunnel vision, when I have a goal. And so my first goal was 25,000, and I just was like hustling to that goal. Now my goal is 100 grand, and I'm just going to hustle to that goal. So as soon as I get there, I'll put out another goal. I don't see really the point in easing off the throttle. I mean, I feel like I might as well continue to be aggressive and just make sure that every trade I take is, mindful of the risk, and that I'm not positioning myself to, potentially lose $20,000 or $30,000 in a single day. That's what I really want to certainly avoid. So, and as you start to take bigger and bigger share size, it can, there is some risk for that type of loss if you're chasing. So, that's kind of what I have to think about, and it means that every trade I take has to be calculated, and I do have to think about the risk before I get into the trade. I may decide I don't care if I lose $5,000, I'm going to take the trade, but at the same time, I at least need to have that thought process. So currently, my account still has a $1,000 max loss, which means if I'm down more than $1,000, I can't take any more trades. The way I'm trading right now, that seems a little too tight, but I also don't know if I want to change it because I don't want to allow myself to, I'm not sure exactly how I will react if I'm in a trade where I lose, $1,200 or $1,500, if I really will be in the right mindset to keep trading. I'm not totally sure. So for right now, I'm going to leave it. If I have a day where I hit my max loss and I feel like I want to call my broker and say, hey, can you lift that off my account? I can do it, but for right now, I'll just let it be there. And I didn't actually ever ask SureTrader to add that to my account. Um, the only day that I lost that much was the day I lost 5,500, and I just threw in the towel. I was like, it's no point in continuing to trade today. It's been a bad day. So in any case, let's look at the stocks that hit the high day scanner. So the first one was XGTI, hitting the high day scans. Let's see, what time was this? So it would have been right around 10:55. 10:55. Let's see. Actually, this might not have hit the scans. This might have been someone calling it out in the chat room saying, hey, look, XGTI is spiking up. So on this one, I waited for the pullback and bought the first 5-minute candle to make a new high, which was right here. And actually, yeah, that was right there. Yeah, no. Sorry. I got in this on the 1-minute time frame. I was on the 1-minute chart. I saw it spike up. It pulled back here at 215, and I got in at 215. We popped up to 220 and then immediately rolled over. Couldn't hold that level, so took the loss. Lost with 3,000 shares, like 8 cents, $211. So I thought maybe we'd get continuation, get a move, and I was wrong. But I was trying to get in that what appeared to be a very strong stock as quickly as possible. Back in my mind, target 225 and then 250 for potential. And then we had AEHR popping up. And again, I was like, okay, here we go. This is something that we might be able to work with. And I was impressed with how it spiked from 220 all the way up to 297. I mean, that's a big move. That really is quite something. So we got the pullback. And I was like, okay, my target will be a move back to $3. So I got in right here, 270, 15,000 shares. Target was $3. We popped up to a high of 295. And then in this candle, we dropped down to 278. So I went from being, up $3,000 or whatever it was, and I actually kept adding. I added at 90, and I added again at 96. So my average was 280. Even though I got in first at 270, my average was 280. So I dropped here from being up 20 cents to down 2 cents, and then when it came back up and broke through 3 and hit 309, that's when I was like, all right, I'm just going to sell this, take the profit. That was a little scary. So I took the profit on that, ended up continuing to run up to 334. So I was like, all right, well, hey, that's good. That's strong. I'll wait for the next pullback. Next pullback forms right here. And as soon as that candle closed with a high of 316, within like 2 seconds, the next candle broke the high of 316. I jumped in with 7,500 shares at 318. And then I added another 2,500 at 333, because that was high of day. High of day was 334. So I added at high of day for the squeeze through. Target was 350. We popped up to a high of 340. And then we saw a 20,000 share seller sitting at 340. And kind of like you see this guy here, 25,000 shares at 325. We keep seeing this type of order. And that kind of felt like as we popped up through the highs and then we saw that, I was like, I don't know, this feels a little risky. It's extended. I'm, as of right now, breaking over $10,000 in profit on the day, which was kind of my goal when I was sitting at 9,000 or 9,500. So I was like, you know what? Let's just take it. We're coming into lunch. I'm going to take the profit, and I'm going to be happy with that. So, that's where we stand today. 4 stocks: AEHR, APOP, DFFN, XGTI. 4 momentum names. 3 solid winners. I guess actually 4 trades total because I traded AEHR twice. So total of 5 trades today and 4 winners. $400 in commission, but it was worth it. So tomorrow I'll open. Hopefully my account will be updated. And I'll open around $55,000, and that will put me 55% of the way to the $100,000 goal. So I don't know really when I'm going to hit 100 grand. When I started this challenge, I started with $583, and my goal was to hit $100,000 by the end of 2017. I was going to give myself this entire year to hit 100 grand. And I wasn't even sure, I really wasn't sure what I'd be able to do. The hardest part of the challenge was the first 2 weeks, going from $500 to 5,000. Once I had 5,000, it was really smooth sailing because I was able to use my margin with SureTrader, 6 times margin. So 5 times 6 is $30,000. So I had $30,000 to trade with. And it was really like, well, this is just how I always trade. And I've been making, $25,000, $30,000 a month pretty consistently. So at that rate, as soon as I got above 5,000, I figured, well, at this point, it seems like I'll be able to get there within a couple months, 3 months if I'm doing 35,000 a month, maybe 4 months if it's a little slower. And so far this year, I'm up, I think around, well, I'm up in this account 55,000. Plus, I was trading in my other account at the beginning of the year, so I'm close to 85,000 or so on the year total, which is pretty darn good considering it's February 8th. So we'll see. This is shaping up to be by far the best month that I've ever had. I would have to beat $55,000 for this to be the best month ever, since that was my high in the middle of, or at the end of January, before I gave back 13,000 and closed with just 32,000, or 42,000. So hopefully I can beat 55,000 this month. That would be a really nice way to bounce back and really keep the momentum going and just keep pushing hard. So first quarter 2017 feeling pretty strong, and I'm just gonna really keep after it and see how aggressive I can be. At some point I'll hit a limit where I got to taper back, and it'll probably be a big loss or something like that kind of tells me I got to slow it down. But until then, I'll just be aggressive, and if I can keep having $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 days on a regular basis, then I'll take it. An occasional $10,000 day or $20,000 day, that just adds to the month. So that's where we're at today. Those of you watching on Facebook, you can feel free to add comments and I'll answer them. Those of you watching on YouTube, you can comment and I'll answer those. I'm going to answer some questions here. Yeah, and that's what I was saying yesterday, Alan. Essentially just keep it running and we'll see where I go. DFFN, no, I didn't use a buy stop. I don't use buy stop orders. I only use limit orders to get in trades. So I don't use any buy stops. It's not that they don't work. I just personally don't use them. The indicators for the hotkeys, like for me, when I saw that 20,000 share seller, that's when I said, all right, I'm just going to bail out, hit the bid, hotkey, Control Z. Pressing those two buttons, I'm out of the trade, like that. It's that fast. It really is. So hotkeys are just a fantastic tool to help you trade faster. They really are really great. So that helped me get out of that trade quickly, lock up the profit. Getting in the trade, shift 1, buy 2,500 shares. I can press it 4 times. I'll have 10,000. So that's what I do sometimes. I'm not always sure how many shares I want to take of a stock until I kind of get in and start to feel the, if it's got good momentum, if it's moving, or if it's kind of sluggish, if there's a hidden seller, stuff like that. So, yeah, you definitely want to practice the hotkeys, and it's something that it takes some muscle memory to get good at them. But once you've got it, it's pretty easy. And AJ, the reason that my entries are precise is because I'm looking for the apex point. So like on AEHR, my entry was supposed to be at 316 because that was the first candle to make a new high. That was the apex point of that pattern. That's where I had to get in. Stop at 308. 8-cent stop, 20, 30-cent target. That's a 2-to-1 profit loss ratio. That works. And you do that 4 or 5 times in a row. If you've got 60, 70% accuracy, you're going to do really well. So it was just these patterns have a very specific entry. There are some patterns that don't have a specific entry, that are kind of like, well, you take a little here, you sort of get started and then add a little more. And Those I've never been as good at just because they feel, they feel vague, they feel a little bit more fuzzy, and that kind of thing. I mean the first candle to break the high of the previous candle, and I don't wait for it to close. I just, as soon as it breaks the high, that's when I get in. And Thomas, I don't trade pink sheets. I don't trade OTC. I only trade NYSE, NASDAQ listed stocks. If your commissions are $10 per trade, $10 in, $10 out, I would manage risk a little bit differently. You wouldn't be able probably to trade with anything less than 1,000 shares because just the commissions are going to become such an issue. So I would probably be looking for stocks that I felt comfortable taking 1,000 to 2,000 shares, 10-cent stop, 20-cent profit target. Commissions are going to be about 10% of it if you enter once and exit once. So it's not ideal, but as you build up your account, it may be something that you're able to cope with. Obviously, commissions were not cheap at SureTrader, but I was able to just push through it and deal with it. Yeah, these hotkeys, Sarah, work in SpeedTrader and SureTrader, and also on Interactive Brokers if you're using Dash Trader. On my hotkeys, I don't have to press enter because I program them so I don't. But you program them either to load the order and then you preview it and you press enter, or you program it to send the order, to load it and send. So you choose whichever one you want. So yeah, I know E-Trade and Ameritrade, some of those are $10 per trade, and it's definitely a little bit more expensive, which is tricky. Well, here's the thing, Chris. On APOP and DFFN, both of those were the leading gappers, so they'd be watched by really all traders that trade gaps. Anyone trading gap stocks would be watching those. So you've got a lot of people watching them. Both of them were gapping up with a catalyst. They had news, and for that reason, they were worth watching as soon as the market opened. If they started to get volume as soon as the bell rang or was going to ring, that was going to be my entry to get in, and that's what we saw in both of them. So I use the Trade Ideas Momentum and Gap Scanner. Yep. The Gap Scanners, what I use in the morning for putting together my watch list. That's how I got APOP and DFFN. And then the high day scanners for how I find stocks that have momentum after the bell rings. Sometimes the gappers are on that scanner, and DFFN and APOP were both on it early this morning. DFFN, APOP. Other times my watch list doesn't play out, and so I'm waiting for something else to start moving. And I can see what's moving just by watching the scanner. David, sometimes I'll manually type in the price that I want to buy at, and other times I just press Shift 1 to use the hotkey. It really depends on whether or not I have time. If I've got time to enter the order manually, I will. If I don't, then I just press the hotkey. And yes, eSignal is the tool that I use for charting. So, obviously there are brokers that have scanners, charts, and trading all in one platform, and that's fine. That's nice. For me, I wanted to have a discount broker where my commissions are really low because commissions are such a big part of trading. I mean, I have $400 in commissions today, and if I was at E-Trade or Ameritrade, it would probably be closer to $1,000. So that, let's just say I saved $600 today. Well, that more than pays for eSignal and Trade Ideas as standalone platforms in just one day. So that's why I kind of feel like I would rather just use the broker I want to use, even if they don't have the charts I like or the scanners I like. I'll just buy those separately. It's a better deal to me. If I was going to take APOP as soon as the market opened, I was a little unsure because of the fact that it kind of squeezed up a little bit here. And so I was like, well, it looks good over 550, but I thought DFFN looked a little bit safer. So I went with DFFN. And yeah, I got in DFFN for the break of the pre-market bull flag. Hotkey is to sell on the bid. Yeah, and that's the thing. When I had the $500 in my account, my first two trades were 1,000 shares, and I only got like 8 to 10 cents on them. So I think the first day I only made what was it, $140 or something like that, $124. But second day I got a little bit more buying power. I got a couple trades, $187, and I was able to slowly build up until I had the capital to take larger positions. It just took a little bit longer, and that's why the first couple weeks were the hardest. And I was genuinely concerned that I may have to add money to that account because, you know, I'm the minimum balance is $500, and I had 583. So really, one loss with 1,000 shares. If I lost $100, I'd have to go put money in and start over. So, that was a real concern, and I think I was fortunate that we had good trading in the first 2 weeks, and I was able to build up the account. But we didn't have parabolic movers. I was only getting base hits. I didn't get a really good winner until the end of the second week, and then into the third week, and then that's when I was really able to start building up the account. So, um, it's been a crazy 26 days here, day 26, from $583 up to over $55,000. And all of these trades, I mean, it's impressive. I didn't expect to be able to hit this target. I was actually hoping that I said this earlier in the challenge. My goal was to be at the $25,000 spot by February 17th, by President's Day weekend, so I could enjoy the long weekend. And I've doubled that goal. So we'll see what I can do next week. Obviously we've got still Thursday, Friday, and then we'll see, between now and the end of next week what I can do by that kind of milestone mark that I had on the calendar. Maybe I'll be in the 60s, but just keep grinding. And I think I could potentially hit the 100K goal by the end of March. I think that's possible. I'm not sure, and I'm not. We'll just kind of see how we finish February. But I think by the end of March, I could be at 100K. And then we'll just kind of set the new target, 200K and 300 and 400, and just see how far I can go this year. So I did $222,000 last year, and here we are in the first 26 days. I'm up about 88,000. So, that's about a third of last year in 26 days. So definitely building up the cushion, and hopefully we continue to have good trading. Things may slow down. We may get some slow periods where there's nothing moving, and because I've got this cushion, I'll probably be inclined just to sit tight and not trade very much. But yeah, $100,000 is the goal, so to keep my focus on that. That's kind of the thing. If you keep focusing on short-term goals, it's easy to stay motivated because you're always kind of close. It's like you're just always like almost there. You just keep doing that. Next thing you know, you've gone this far. So it's always going to be, I'm not going to put the intention. I mean, I'll set the intention that sure, maybe I'd like to get to 1 million, at some point, someday, but that's too big of a target. Got to start small. Because then even when you start small, like if you have a little bit of a setback, you still feel within reach because it's still pretty close. Maybe you set back a little bit, but it's still close. It's still within reach, and it keeps you motivated, keeps you working hard, and that's what I'm going to be doing. All right, guys. So we'll upload this to the podcast, to YouTube, Facebook. You guys can watch it later. If you have questions, put them in the comments. I love to get the thumbs up and the hearts. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. All right. I'll see you all first thing tomorrow. Thanks, guys.
Let's be honest. If you made it this far, you must have really enjoyed that video. So what's stopping you? Subscribe right here and get email alerts anytime I upload new content. Until then, happy surfing